This is a lecture from OpenTuition. For the free lecture notes that go with this podcast, please visit opentuition.com.
Okay, so subject here, professional ethics and the ACCA's Code of Professional Ethics. And the way it is constructed, if you like, there are certain fundamental principles that exist, if you like, which are these. We'll see them in a moment. And then there can be certain threats that we're all subject to that might attack these fundamental principles and mean that we in some way deviate away from them. And then what we need, what we want, are safeguards to protect us from the threats. So that's the way the thing is constructed. Fundamental principles that we want to comply with. Threats which are kind of pushing us, deviating us away from complying with those fundamental principles, and then safeguards to help us maintain this ethical stance that we have. And again, there's an element of being forewarned is forearmed. If we can anticipate some of the threats in advance, then we can have worked out some of our defence in advance. Some of the safeguards can be worked out in advance. And the fundamental principles of the ACCA's code are these. And you have to know really the words which are in bold here. I mean, these are very specific terms. A little bit maybe of overlap here and there with some of the words that we saw. Certainly one of the words here, there's integrity, there's honesty in there, and so on there. Objectivity, which is a kind of independence, and so on. There's an element here of some similar concepts maybe to how we might expect good directors to be behaving as well. But this is for ACCA people, whether they are auditors or whether they're ACCA working as accountants in companies, or whether they are students. Okay, these principles govern everyone there. So it's not just auditors; it is wider than that. And we have here this business of integrity, effectively honesty. The word straightforward is in there, and this is really warning against us maybe by the use of words. Maybe not quite telling the plain truth, if I could put it like that. We're not really telling the truth, and not really being honest with people if we use some sort of very diplomatic form of words which leaves them with a different or a wrong impression. Also within integrity, as we I think mentioned before, is the idea of standing up for what you believe in, of taking a stand, of not backing down if it's something which is vitally important, of being strong, if you like, in your beliefs. Professional competence and due care. For example, you have to keep up to date with legislation. If there's a new financial reporting standard that's important to you, then you can't be doing a good job if you're not up to date with that, and so on. In terms of auditors, it also reaches over into auditing a company or an operation that you know nothing about. So to what extent could a smallish firm of auditors maybe undertake to audit a large insurance company? It may have no expertise within it about the way insurance companies operate, and therefore wouldn't know what the risks are, and so on there. There could potentially be a bit of imbalance if they didn't have enough members of staff to really cover the size of the insurance company and so on. They couldn't be really exercising due care and so on. It would be a poor audit, and we should avoid that. Confidentiality. Accountants are always privileged to see confidential information. If it's somebody working in a commercial organisation, they often see budgets. They see next year's budgets, next year's plans, and that's very interesting, maybe to rivals, and maybe to the stock exchange or whatever. Even if you're just working in the wages and salaries department, you are privileged to see other people's salaries and remuneration and so on. If you're an auditor, you will see the financial statements before anyone else outside the organisation sees the financial statements. And it would be quite inappropriate for you to go talking to friends or relatives or your bank manager or whatever, saying, "Oh, buy shares in this company because the results are going to be good when they're announced in 2 months' time," and so on. Professional behaviour: comply with the law and avoid any action which discredits the profession. Sometimes interesting to know how awful an action should be before it would be breaching this here. What about a small speeding conviction? The policeman comes out, points his radar gun at you. You're over the limit. I'm sure you never are over the limit, but you have a bit of a fine there. Should you resign from ACCA? Would you feel obliged to resign from ACCA because of that? Probably not. Otherwise, there wouldn't be very many people in it, probably. Anyway, no, that wouldn't be. What would happen? It wouldn't happen to any of you. But on a Saturday night, maybe you had a little bit too much to drink, and you got into a fight in the street, just beside Freedom Monument. Would that be bringing the profession into disrepute? If it, in the paper then said you ACCA member in fight in the street, had drunk too much? I'm not sure. I don't know. What they are particularly worried about, and you'll understand this, is anything dishonest. Okay. So if what you have done, if you're breaking the law, if you like, has got anything to do with suggesting you're actually dishonest, then you'll probably not get in, or you'll be thrown out. Because of course you are dealing with money, and honesty is one of the first requirements there. And there has been a case a few years ago now in London of an ACCA student who had been on the underground without a ticket, and if they can prove that you've been doing that deliberately and we're trying to avoid payment rather than just an accident, then you get a criminal conviction. It's effectively a theft, really. And this person was found guilty for not paying a fare of about £2.50, and was barred from membership. And you may think that that's harsh, but this person had demonstrated a degree of dishonesty, and they say, well, why bother having them, really? The other sort of things which discredit the profession, the things which are talked about, are bringing the whole profession into some sort of disrepute. So, if PricewaterhouseCoopers in its advertisements, in its adverts, were to say, KPMG are rubbish auditors, that would be bringing the whole profession into disrepute. You're not supposed to be making fun of, criticising other professional firms. You by all means say that you're really good and better and best, or whatever you want to say, but you're not allowed to say that those auditors over there, ACCA members, are a load of rubbish, because that's bringing the whole profession down. So no sort of negative advertising there. And then there is objectivity. We have to avoid bias. If you're going to be reporting on a set of accounts, whether it's true and fair, you have to avoid, for example, any sort of influence that would make you as an auditor want to be able to say that the company is doing well. You should not care, in a way, whether the company's results show profit or loss. You should be caring about whether the company's financial statements are showing the right figure, the true and fair figure. And we'll see the sort of thing that might bring in undue influence here is if you were to own shares in the company that you're auditing. You know that if the company then shows a good profit, the share price is likely to go up, and therefore you might be influenced to not qualify the accounts or let bigger profits through because of very personal gain, the hope of personal gain coming out of it.